Hello, Scott. Hello, Alessandra. And hello, Grant. I assume that you are all excellent.
Yes, I am. Thank you. Hello to everyone, and I assume you're all excellent. It's good to be with you all.
Wonderful.
Yes, great to be here.
Yeah, I'm excellent as well. Thank you. All right. Um, I'll assume it was Alessandra. Okay. Now let's get into our study today. And we're going to start with the screen sharing. Now, can you all see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Healing. Wow. This is a very special topic because it's one of the topics a lot of people really want powerful manifestations about. Also, it's very it's a very sensitive topic because if you really do it right, you have all the healing you want in the world, and you'll be perfectly healthy. Of course, it's a painful experience to lack anything uh, called health, both to oneself and to people around oneself. So let us look at what healing is all about, what Neville talks about in this chapter. And like I said, I want you to approach this study, every chapter that we look at, every lesson we review, like it's your first time coming across this, or like you don't have preconceived ideas of okay, this is what healing is going to be. Because as you actually find, healing, as we're talking about it now, is not the classic healing. Although I even use that reference right now, it's not the classic healing that we have been familiar with, like a person healing from illness. Yes, that is a part of the kinds of healing that we are going to learn about, but it's not the only kind of healing that we're looking at. It's basically, or in a simple manner, the method can be applied in any different way. So we in one of the chapters that reveal the methods of changing our consciousness so that we can actually do it and then get the results that we want from it. And also so we can ultimately reach the satisfaction from repeatedly getting into Sabbath. So the formula, like I said at the beginning, we find it's a method. So the formula for the cure of leprosy was as revealed in the 14th chapter of Leviticus, is most illuminating when viewed through the eyes of a mystic. So we want to look at this formula as a mystic would see it. What would be a mystic's point of view? And it is the most illuminated. So just so in case you have the temptation to explore how any other person would see it in this world. Okay, and this goes for not only this formula, by the way, it goes for anything else in this world. If you want to explore any meaning, any symbol, any interpretation, yeah, go ahead with any other kind of interpretations, but the most illuminating form you'd always find is actually that of the mystic. It is one that liberates you the most, that is really frees your soul, your spirit to soar the most. And it's the one that's full of the most promises, the most promising future, the most promising life, the most promising dreams. It is the mystics or the mystics view that is most illuminating, most promising, and most of all, it's the most practical. As much as it is highly spiritual, it's actually the most practical in the sense you can practice it, okay? Highly practical. There is no limit you can impose upon yourself to not practice it in this world. And it is the most effective. It actually works. So you don't have to fall into such temptations that invite you to explore other ways to understand this formula or even any other perspective or any other lesson in life for that matter. Well, let's look at this. This formula can be prescribed as the positive cure of any disease in man's world, be it physical, and that would be the typical one, all right, the typical healing people apply or want to apply this lesson to. Okay. Also, mental, yeah, there is that. Unstable mental state, yeah, they exist. And so it could as well be emotional, mental, emotional, okay, like mental, psychological, or financial, or social, or moral, or anything. Any kind of healing you want from any kind of disease in your world, okay? If it's a financial disease, if it's a social one, if it's a moral one, if it's a physical one, if it's a mental one, an emotional one, it can all be cured. And it is the positive cure for all of it. Now, what's the formula? It doesn't matter the nature of the disease or its duration. It doesn't matter if you've been in that particular situation for 10 years, or it's just been 10 days, or it's just the last 10 hours. This cure will work just as much, as effectively. And it doesn't matter the nature of it. Like, oh, it's just what Jimmy was saying. Neville, it's not health. My issue is not health. It's my skin. I was born with this problem. And that's a very funny statement to make. Because if you were to ask a person who is ill what their problem would be, and they will tell you, my problem is not my skin. It's not my skin. Why? Because they feel they have a serious problem. And it's the only problem in the world that counts. And most of all, it's tormenting them. So they're like, see, it's just my health, my condition. I just don't. All right. But Jimmy is saying it's not even my health, it's my skin. Funny. All right. But regardless of the nature of the problem, it could be health, it could be social, it could be like physical or social or anything. You are able to change it and it will work. The formula can be successfully applied to any and all of them. I'll take that as a promise and I'm gonna go, okay, Never, you know what? I'll take your word for it and apply this and apply it to see the success that we're talking about. Well, I did and it works. So let's get into it. Here is the Here is the formula, as it is recorded in the book of Leviticus. Then shall the priest command to take for him, that is to be cleansed, two birds alive and clean. And the priest shall command that one of the birds be killed. As for the living bird, he shall take it and shall dip it in the blood of the bird that was killed, and shall sprinkle upon him that is to be cleansed from the leprosy 7 times, and shall pronounce him clean, and shall let the living bird loose into the open field, and he, that is the one with leprosy, shall be clean. That is so simple, right? So straightforward. If this were to be the only cure of leprosy in the world, hallelujah. Okay. Everybody who ever had it would automatically be like oh, we wouldn't have birds would have been extinct, really, actually. Okay, birds would have gone into extinction. Do you realize? All right, but it is not. It is not because it's not about it's not a literal text. Now, which is exactly what Neville also pointed out. Look at it. As simple as it looks, it actually doesn't sound meaningful, right? It sounds it sounds so superstitious. So sometimes you wonder when a person just takes this like it is a literal thing, okay? Like it's a literal thing. And now the person is in a Christian faith, and now that person doesn't want to take someone who does a black magic where they combine, say, the shells of say crab and snails and use it to do one or two things, and that person doesn't want to accept or be cool with that or be chill with that. It's literally funny because you just read something that sounds similar. This one even says go on and kill the bird and dip the living bird into the blood of the dead one and then sprinkle it on the human being and then throw the bird into the feel and let it fly away, and then boom, the leprosy is gone. Obviously, really stupid, like Never said. So he said a little application of this story would be stupid and fruitless. However, however, a psychological application. Now, we actually can see how wise it is when we approach it from a psychological point of view or standpoint. And it looks one of the best things you could ever read about how to change a situation, because that's what happened to the leper. A change of fate, a change of destiny, a change of situation. Okay, how to change a situation or a condition for a person. That's what you'd find it to be if you approach it psychologically. And it will be fruitful in that means it will actually work. Okay, now let us look at it from a psychological point of view. Psychological application. A bird is a symbol of an idea. In other words, a bird represents an idea. And this is good because when you understand this, whenever you see bird in the Bible, you can almost always substitute it for an idea. Maybe there are occasions when it's not about an idea, yeah, but that is very rare because it actually typically symbolizes an idea. In fact, it symbolizes an idea that is just floating in your consciousness. Okay, that's it. Now, every man who has a problem or who desires to express something other than that which he is now expressing can be said to have two birds because a bird represents an idea, so an idea means concept. That's what an idea means. Okay, it means a concept. So if you have a situation like a current life, a current experience, something that your current physical condition, that is bird one, because it's actually an idea that becomes that current situation. Okay, so that current situation is true to origin. All lines run true to origins, right? And that current situation is true to origin, and the origin is an idea. So that current situation is also an idea. Now, while you have that, you as well have the solution you would like to have, the desire, the wish you would love to solve the problem, to dismiss the situation, that something you want to express that would mean to you, you don't have to deal with that problem or that current idea anymore. And that is your second idea, the desire. So the desire is the second idea, and that is also a concept, actually. So those are two ideas, two birds. Now, these two birds or conceptions can be defined as follows. The first bird is your present, outpictured concept of yourself. It is the description. Okay, let's look at it. Your present, outpictured conception of yourself is what? It equals the description which you would give if you were asked to define yourself. And this is why I personally do not um I I'm not excited by a person describing their present situation as if they were trying to describe the wish they would like to come true. Okay? Because you're not recognizing the first birth. And by the way, let us understand this. You only ever have to deal with two concepts when you want to change your concept or change your life, a change of consciousness. You only ever, there are infinite ideas. You limitless. We saw that from the beginning. All right. Like you can be anything. You are formless consciousness and getting into form, your unconditioned awareness. We saw that from the beginning. Yeah. Now you have infinite concepts that you can actually take on. But you know what? You never have to deal with infinite concepts. You only ever deal with two, and it's these two birds. One of them is the current physical outpictured world. And the second one is the desire, the wish fulfilled. Now, what happens when a person says, can you tell me what you're currently going through? And you kind of describe what the positive thing you would like to get from it is all about. You are doing two things. Number one, you are actually telling yourself the current physical world does not exist. Where is, that's where you want the result to manifest. Number two, by trying too hard to link it back to the dream world, the thing you are kind of grateful for, or the thing that is positive that you want, you are actually contaminating that idea because you will not be able to freely imagine the desire independent of the current physical situation. Like if the current situation is I've not eaten, I don't know what I'm going to have for breakfast. I don't have any money. Okay. Now, what do you want? And you don't want to describe, you don't want to admit that, oh, I didn't have any money. I have not eaten breakfast. I don't know what I'm going to eat for breakfast. You don't want to admit that because that's negative. Okay, I want to be positive. All right. Let's try the positivity. And then you're going something like, oh, I love to have my breakfast and as how I like. I want to have a five-star breakfast. What you're missing out though is you being able to dream that you know what I really want in my life is I want to have a private chef. You know, that's something you would easily acknowledge if you were not looking at the current circumstance and trying to patch it with the dream. So there are actually two birds. And the first one is your description. Like if anyone were to ask you, how are you? How you describe yourself? And it's fine. Don't have any reaction to it. Don't be, oh, it's a bad negative thing to talk that way. No. Hey, am I saying you've got to complain? No. Am I saying how about you go and talk around and beat around with how terrible things are? No. Am I saying you've got to take the problem and make it look like you're a master and carry it on your head and go to people and say, I've got a big problem, it's unsolvable? No. I'm not saying you've got to have a negative attitude to life. No. What I'm saying though is do not be in denial of the current picture situation. Don't be in denial of it. The time is going to come as you apply this formula. The time will come that you will take your attention away from it, like you saw with Esau. But there is Esau. Acknowledge there is Esau, and then take your attention away from it. Again, we see it here. And it is how you describe yourself. Now, look at this. How you describe yourself is equal to your present conception of yourself. This isn't particularly, I don't think it's in fundamentals, okay? The fundamentals text. If I were to open it, let me just quickly check. I'm pretty sure it's not there, but I want to. No. Is that what you're seeing right now? Fundamentals? Or do you see anything on the screen at all?
Nothing on the screen.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's not there. That's correct. It's not there. So it's not actually written in fundamentals, right? But I got it from here and I understood it when I was reading fundamentals. Because when he was talking about self-observation, and it was like, it's you're healing self and it's about the daily circles of your life and so on and so forth. And I went, oh, he's really saying how I would describe myself. Like if you say, how are you or who are you are the lyrics. Now, let me just simply be honest and talk about my life as I believe it is right now. Not trying to sugarcoat it, not trying to be. That is my current concept of myself. Whether I like it or not. And definitely, I don't like it. Okay. Like by default, you don't like it. But that description is actually the description that is your present concept of yourself. And that is the first verb that you've got to deal with. So maybe try it after this class, okay? Actually try it. Actually, go on and write a composition. When I was a child, we used to have the exercise a lot from school. We'd be given an assignment, go home and write a composition about yourself. And you would write a composition. Like that means talk about yourself. So I'd go, I'm Adelere, I'm a boy age 7, and I was born into a family of this, and then I have this sibling, and I have this parent, and I have this is my favorite meal. Now that's my description of life as it was back then. If I were to write a composition of myself right now, I'd write so many more things. For example, oh, I'm an employee of labor. I've got this and that. Okay. But that is now my current concept of myself. 10 years ago, that wasn't my concept of myself. I wasn't an employee of labor. I was an employee. So how you describe yourself, that's the first thing. How you describe yourself if you were asked to define yourself, your physical condition, your income, your obligations, your nationality, your family, your race, and so on. All of this are your present concept of yourself. That's your first bird. Your sincere answer to these questions would necessarily be based solely upon the evidence of your senses and not upon any wishful thinking. Okay, you say I just said that, right? I just literally said all this now, right? And people, I don't want you to join anyone in this world to ignore this part of the law. It's not so comfortable. And that's exactly why Abdullah had to tell Neville, don't be ashamed of it, but find it. First, find self. Discover it. Don't be ashamed, but get on with the changing of that self. You want to change your consciousness? Well, get on with being honest. Give yourself a sincere answer of what your present current description of yourself would be if anyone were to ask you, who are you? You want to talk about yourself, your present income, your current obligation, all the stuff that you have before you, all the things that you think, okay, well, talk about it. Your nationality, your this, your that, your restrictions, your permissions, your able to do's and your can't do's. Everything you describe without any wishful thinking, without any, not the slightest wishful thinking. Okay. Oh, I see the two birds in the comment from from Grant. And yes, we all have a private chef. That's right. That's correct. I've had some applications coming. Like, I haven't even started trying to hire one. Okay. And I've had a number of people who have offered to be my private chef. Okay. Well, now back to what we're discussing here. This is so important. And I want you to really, really understand and appreciate the gravity of this. It is so important. And if you truly mean to change your life. Now, by the way, I can promise you this. If you really go through this exercise, as uncomfortable as it seems to actually, it's funny. Be sincere with yourself. That's uncomfortable. And everyone likes to want people to be sincere with them. Right? Everyone goes, but you can be sincere with, you can trust me. Okay, you can trust me with anything. You can be sincere with me about it. Be sincere with yourself. No, there's gotta be some wishful thinking. And let me just add there you go. That dot. That's my wishful thinking. Okay, be sincere with yourself. And I assure you, if you are, you actually change your life much faster at a much faster rate than you ever have done if you'd only do this. And if that's what it should be. Now, this true conception of yourself, based entirely upon the evidence of your senses, like basically what I can see. Well, anyway, if there were a private investigator wanting to talk about me, these are the stuff he would say. If there was a detective, if there was anyone in this world who's got all the ability to gather all the data about my life and talk about me, this is what he would say. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the same thing I would say. Your objective observation of yourself. Now, that is the first bird. Now, the second bird is defined by the. Now, here you come to the wishful thinking. Do it, for goodness sake. Be a wishful thinker. It's impossible. Wishful thinking. Oh, it's not realistic. Come and do the wishful thinking. Oh, but no one is about it. Do the wishful thinking, for goodness sake. Okay? It's defined by the answer you wish you might give in these questions of self-definition. Like, that's what you truly want. If someone were to ask you, like, oh, I have this illness. Okay, but what's the answer you wish you could give? I wish I could say that I'm totally healthy and I'm vibrant and I'm full of life and health. Now that's what you wish you could say. Okay, well that's your second birth. That's the second idea. Do you understand? Everything you wish you could say in answer. Now, do you see how important the first part is? Because the second part is literally what you wish you could say in answer to that question. Who are you? Now, if you try to mix it in with the first, you dilute the power of the second. And by the way, you're not being so honest with the first, so some things will be kept there anyway. As you're trying to change your consciousness, you reserve some things. Now, another definition of the two birds would be the first is your present problem, regardless of its nature, and the second is the solution to that problem. For example, if someone says, "Who are you?" and you're like, "Well, I'm sick." Well, Philip could be the solution, right? If it's like, "I'm in debt," well, then Philip would be the solution. If you're like, "Well, I'm hungry," well, then food would be the solution. And the how in any of these does not matter. It's none of our concern. And we're not looking at that. That's not the solution. Take note. The how is not considered. And I want you to please understand the how is not the solution. The solution is a what? The solution is a what? Okay? That's what the solution is. It's a what? It's a what I want, what you want, what we want, not the how. What, how this current thing is going to go, how this situation is going to change, how this problem is going to dismiss. No, but what I want. It's a what. Okay. Now, every problem reveals its own solution. And this doesn't mean like, oh, if you have a problem, just go to the opposite. It's saying that every problem offers you the opportunity to actually craft a solution. All right. So if there's a problem like poverty, now you can see having enough is not the solution. That's something that would be opposite of being poor, actually. All right. But it's a solution. But riches is a solution. Weakness, strength is a solution. Confinement, freedom is its solution. And sickness, health is its solution. So basically, for everything you do not like in this world, there is something you would very much enjoy. And it exists. So these two states then, your problem and its solution are the two birds that you bring to the priest. Now, who's the priest? You are the priest. Wow. You are the priest who performs the drama of the curing of the man of leprosy. Who's the man of leprosy? Your problem. Oh, okay. So you are the priest, and with the formula for the cure of leprosy, you now free yourself. So yourself, that is the leper man, from your problem, the leprosy. Okay? But you are the priest. We have a high priest in heaven who is actually touched with our own infirmities, but has gone through all the temptations and has stood sinless and is able to succor us. And that's you. You are the one. Your I-amness, your awareness is completely pure, holy, unconditioned, can become anything, can transform into any state. But still, in all of that, is limitless. You are the high priest, and you are, well, the leper, the outer world, the outer you, the outer body. That's the leper. And that's the one that is to be cured. So let's look at the formula and how to cure using this formula. First, what's the meaning of the word first? That means number one thing to do. Okay? Number one thing to do. First, take one of the birds, that is your problem, and kill it by extracting the blood from it. Well, blood is man's consciousness. He has made of one blood all nations of men to dwell on the face of the earth. That's a quote from the Bible that demonstrates that blood is man's consciousness. There's another verse of the Bible that actually says the blood which is the life thereof. Okay? So The blood is man's awareness. And taking it, number one, like the first thing to do. So first, kill the first bird, the problem, by draining it of its blood. And blood is being a consciousness, means kill it by draining it of the consciousness that is in it. Your consciousness is the one and only reality which animates and makes real that which you are conscious of being. So turning your attention away from the problem is equivalent to extracting the blood from the bird. Your consciousness is the only blood which makes all states living realities. By removing your attention from any given state, you have drained the life blood from that state. You kill or eliminate the first bird, your problem, by removing your attention from it. As simple as that. You killed the first bird by removing your attention from it. Okay? Removing the attention. We've seen that again and now again. Removing the attention. We saw it in the story of Esau, and now we're seeing it in the story of this first bird. So it appears there are two, the outer and the inner, Esau and Jacob, the first and the second birds. And the first one has to be killed or sent away hunting. If in any of these ways that you could grasp it, it simply means withdrawing your attention away from it, completely removing consciousness from it. Now, once you do that, you kill or eliminate the first bird by removing your attention from it, then into this blood, which is your consciousness, you dip the life bird, the solution of that which heretofore you desired to be or possess. This is by freeing yourself to be the desirable state now. So the dipping of the live bird, that's the second thing to be done, right? So number one, first, take away your attention. Number two, now, take the live bird. That is the thing you desire to be, the thing you want to make alive now, the wish you would love to be fulfilled. Take it, that idea, and then put it into your consciousness. Or let your consciousness be centered in it. Deep it into your lifeblood, into your attention. And as you do that, it is like the blessing of Jacob by his father Isaac. As you recall, blind Isaac cannot see his objective world, his son Esau. You two are blind to your problem, for you have removed your attention from it, and therefore you do not see it. Now, your attention is now placed upon the second bird, and you feel and sense the reality of it. Feel and sense the reality of it. Let it ask you. The sense is free. See, let me put it, this is like an important text. So let me just mention here. This is, they call something a litmus test, right? So a litmus test is a test that is used to determine the true nature, quality, or acceptability of something. And in science, it is used basically to test for the acidity of or the pH level of a substance. Now, this is a litmus test on your imaginal practice. What's the litmus test? Do you feel and sense the reality of what you imagine? That's the test. When you imagine, you just go, did I feel the reality and sense the reality of it? If I did, boom, that's it. All right, I did it successfully. And feeling and sensing the reality of a thing, you see, that's not saying, hey, do you feel the excitement of it? It just says, does it feel real to you? That's it. Does it feel real to you? Like real. Look, if you don't know what real means, okay, well then go into anything around you and look at it. Like if you touch, become aware of what you're doing. If you touch the clothes, you're aware that you're touching a cloth. Okay. Now, if you touch A book, you're aware that it's a book. Now, if you touch a spoon, you're aware it's a spoon, and they feel differently. Now, close your eyes and then imagine what you want. Imagine the solution that you like. Now, can you tell that you're touching something as you touching it? Like that reality of the wish fulfilled. Can you tell that you actually felt and sense that you're touching it? Now, let's say what you're touching, in particular, is leather. And now it's not the cloth, and it's not the book, and it's not the spoon, because it's not fabric, and it's not paper, and it's not stainless, but it is leather. And can you tell that you just touched leather? If you could, well, that's the sensing of the reality of it, and it's your litmus. Okay. Now you have to do this 7 times. 7 times you are told to sprinkle the one to be cleansed. And this means you must dwell in it until. And again, this is another test, actually. Until. This means you must dwell within the new conception of yourself. Dwell within it until you mentally enter the seventh day, the Sabbath. Until the mind is sealed or fixed in the belief that you're actually expressing or possessing that which you desire to be or to possess. At the seventh sprinkle, you're instructed to lose the living bird and pronounce the man clean. Okay, so until, that's a measure of what? The word until is a measure of time. Okay? It's a measure of time. And as a measure of time, what you're doing with it is you're using it to keep. Oh, okay. This is the time to go. This is the time to stop. This is time to start, or this is time to stop. Basically, that's what you use time to do. You use it to know events, okay? When events occur. So, until, if you're like, oh, I don't know, how long should I imagine it? Should I imagine it for 2 days or 3 days? How about try until you feel the reality of it? Until your mind is still and fixed in the belief that you are the person you'd like to be or you have what you want to have. How about you try that until you possess it? Hmm. That could be literally in 3 minutes. It could be 3 hours. It could be after 3 days of repeatedly trying or doing it. It could be after 3 weeks or even 3 months. Okay, for Victor Goddard, it was 2 years, right? 2 years. That was it. Oh, but was it worth it? Absolutely. Now, in those 3 years, he told his mom, and she said, come on, don't do it again. Did he stop? No. He continued doing it until he knew he's got this business. And out of the blue, someone came and bought it for them. Okay. Now, as you fully impress upon yourself the fact that you are that which you desire to be, you have symbolically sprinkled yourself 7 times. Then, as you're free, then you are as free as the bird that is loose. And like the bird in flight, which must in a little while return to the earth. Now, this is actually a kind of reference to the story in Noah's experience. And so if you want to take this particular line to use it to interpret that verse or that passage of Noah and the ark, well, it would be an effective way to apply it. Okay, but it must return to earth. So must your subjective impressions or claim in a little while embody itself in your world. And that, of course, automatically happens. So this story and all the other stories of the Bible are psychological plays dramatized within the consciousness of man. You are the high priest. You are the leper, and you are the bird. So it's all you and you and you. Okay? And so all you've got to do is to work with yourself. Your consciousness for I am is the high priest. You, the man with the problem, are the leper. The problem, your present concept of yourself, is the bird that is killed. The solution of the problem, what you desire to be, is the living bird that is freed. You reenact this great drama within yourself by turning your attention away from your problem and placing it upon that which you desire to express. Now, I want you to, when you're practicing this method, this formula, I want you to feel that the whole of Leviticus is happening again. Like the book is actually alive again. Okay? Feel that. Don't think of it like a dead. We're not trying to apply some principle like, oh yeah, let us interpret it this way, and based on this interpretation, we're gonna do it this way, but it's an interpretation. No, that's not what we're doing here. Actually, what we're doing is we're offering a view, the mystic view, and it's a view that brings alive the passages of the Bible. So that when you're applying it, you are actually enacting the drama all over again. So the whole thing is being real, or is being done, or is being fulfilled, which is the point of the promise. It's being fulfilled in you. And that is what how to heal yourself of anything in this world. Your present description, be sincere with it. What would you have loved to settle? That's your desire. And then you use that and imagine it. Killing your present condition, which you do by withdrawing your consciousness from it. Place it on the thing you desire to be, and boom, result. As you enter stillness. Like, so you do it until the stillness, and your result follows. Are there any questions here?
I have a question, Adelaide. What do you think is the power inside of seeing everything about the state that we're in right now? Is it more that, like one thought was that because I am the I am, I'm in all the states, or is it just to get a clear sense of what you're shifting?
Let me get that again. Could you say it again?
Just wondering, what is the power of clearly seeing the state that we're in right now? I mean, if I'm just wondering, is it to get a clear sense of what there is so we can get clearer about what we're changing, or does it make us realize more that we are the operant power and we can choose whatever?
All right. Good question. Good question. Do you all understand what the question is saying? So the question is, Surya is asking, what's the power? And actually also means what's the effectiveness? What's the purpose of then looking at my current conception of myself? Especially if I am that I am. I mean, I am the I am. So do I have to look into the present concept of myself? And if so, what's the power that is in that when I am the power? Or is it for the purpose of being able to validate to ourselves, like, yeah, if I created this, I could create the other thing? Okay. On the one hand, yeah, you could actually use it to validate to yourself and go, yeah, yeah, well, I created this current condition, even though unconsciously, and I can create the next thing. Yeah, it can serve that purpose, but that's not why we ask you to look. And even don't particularly do that unless what you're looking at is a present result that you would like to continue with. Okay. So if it's like something you manifested, but you don't like, you don't need to keep dwelling on it. Like, I manifested that because I can remember when I imagined it. It's fine, especially if you've noticed. You imagine it and now it happened. But don't dwell on it further because then you're not particularly imagining the thing you want. You're just going up with the glory enough. How you manifested the old thing you don't like anymore. But if it's something you like, yeah, totally use it to keep reminding yourself that your experience has convinced you that you really are the I am that I am who's powerful to do all things. But why do you have to then check? Like, why do you have to go, oh, these are the current things I have manifested. I created it and I created that. Again, the simple answer is actually in what we've learned so far. It is to take your attention away from it. That's why. It is precisely to rid of the power that it has over you. Now, I am that I am. There is that in that sentence, right? There is that in that sentence. And I did mention that that particular word, that, actually applies in two ways. So let me show it to you. Oh, hold on. Okay, my white but's not coming up, so I'll just give it a shot one more time. Okay, so I am that. I am. So, and I said this particular that actually applies both to this and to this. Applying to this, okay, it is I am that. And this particular that is in distance. Applying to this though, it is that I am. And in this case, it is indicating identity. Okay, they've been joined. That I am. All right, that's identity. That's they've been joined. But in the first case, I am that. It's creating it's a distance. It's saying that is the objective. That's the object. It's outside of me. Now, all of the current physical conceptions are actually on this level. That I am. That's the level where they are on. That I am. Now, this level is a level where we find what? Identity. That's who you see yourself being. Much as you are the I am that I am, it's who you keep seeing yourself being. It has power over you. It is that I am. It comes before the I am, right? So that I am. It keeps having power over you or keeps dominating you. It keeps the verse Genesis 4, it says it rules over you. Okay, it keeps having rule over you, and your heart keeps drawing to it. Or no, you keep having rule over it, and it keeps drawing to you. Yeah. So that I am. Now you could go and manifest something, something golden and beautiful and powerful, and you really want to manifest it. Now you imagine it, and the minute you open your eyes, you're back to that I am, because you haven't let it lose its power over you. Meaning, it still captures your awareness, your attention. Let's talk about it in terms of okay, a woman who has a seductive power over you, like over a man. Let's say it that way. Okay, a woman who has a seductive power over a man. So at the beginning, okay, this man goes, "Oh, I really like you," and like, and then yeah, they got in touch. They became intimate, and right after that, the man goes, "Okay, I want to move on," and then the woman goes, "Oh, I know your key. I have the power over you, and using the seductive power over him." And so he keeps coming back and back and back and back to the same old state. Even though he really wants to be free into a new state now, he never goes. Why? Because that is still there. So becoming aware of it, and it's not just like you're being aware of it. You remember you're being aware of it for one purpose, to send it away, to kill it, right? So it's not like you are to look at the outer world and go, yeah, this is who I am. And then you lament and you complain and you feel bad because you're just stuck here. No, it is to be aware of it for one purpose, to send it away. If you've not done the sending away, you've not really done being aware of it. You've not done the self-observation that we're talking about. But if you don't do it also, well, it keeps seducing you back to itself. And it is so hidden. It is so hidden. You don't even want to talk about it. I mentioned it in a passing comment earlier before we even read it. When Never said your sincere answer. And I said, it's funny. We would want people to be sincere with us, but we wouldn't even be sincere with ourselves. Okay? Like, oh, you can be sincere with me. Okay, well, tell me about you. And not even a sincere answer. Everything is from the wishful thinking. Okay. Well. How about you sit down? Now, this is with yourself. Nobody in this world is there with you. No one is judging. No one is watching. It's just you. Stop about for a moment. This is the life you're living, for goodness sake. So don't be ashamed of it. Just look at it sincerely. It does have power over you, the power of being able to seduce your mind. Another word for this is, which is what Neville has used a number of times. It is that it's already your habit. It's already your habit to think that way. So you want to be aware that you really do have this habit, and then say that end the habit, like make it the final, make it the end. This is the end of it. I'm not engaging in this habit anymore. So does that answer your question? We do it to send it away, and we do it because it actually does have power over us. And
Thank you.
it has power over us because we brought it in.
Thank you so much, King. That was perfect. I completely understand. Thank you.
Great. You're welcome. All right. Are there any other questions? Yeah, thank you, Ashley. That's another way to actually look at it. And I really love that too. It's another analogy I love to give. I love Ashley says it's showing me where I am on the map so I can move. So often, okay, we know what we want, or at least we have an idea. Sometimes we don't even really know, okay. But like we have an idea of what we want. So this is like location B. That's where we want to go. But how do you arrive at location B? Well, you have to leave a location A. But hey, if you didn't know where location A is, so let's say um, that we have this. Okay, so where is location A right now? You don't know. How are you going to arrive at B? Are you going to arrive this way, or this way, or this way, or this way, or maybe even this way? How? How? You don't know. But the moment you know location A, okay, and we have, oh, where is that thing that says it should go? So the minute you know location A, you have a straight path to B. It's just like if you want to get somewhere in this world and you're like, where am I right? You know where you're going to. But if you know where you are, you can't get there. If you're like, oh, I have the map and I am going to the top of the mountain. All right. But are you north of it or east of it or west of it or south of it right now? You're like, I don't know. You're getting nowhere near it. But the moment you know, boom, you arrive there because you have a straight path to get you there. Okay, so that's also a very nice complimentary point there. All right, so that's it. Now we're going to, oh yeah, Scott says about finding out who you are. It's realizing you're not it for me, and it's not having power over me, and not criticizing myself. That's very good. Yeah, it's to actually recognize for me from observing that, okay, I have given life to this. So I can now withdraw that life I have given it. I made this and now I'm taking it away. Okay. So that's what it's actually all about. And actually taking that attention away is the key objective of observing so that you become free to embody the new state. There's a principle that is so key to your manifestation in this world. And I shared it from this reading because we found it in this text. And it says two things cannot occupy the same place at the same time. Do you remember? Two things cannot occupy the same place at the same time. So, all right. We're going to meet on Saturday. And until then, I want you to actually take this lesson and practice it. The healing lesson. Practice it. Practice it, being mindful of what's happening from the Sabbath lesson. Okay, in the Sabbath lesson, you realize that it automatically happens. So don't try to make it happen. But then you have a task. And that's what we learned in healing today. So take a moment to ask yourself, who am I? And then write it down. Okay, try to write it down. Like a description of yourself. Who you sincerely, honestly describe yourself to be. And then look at it and go, but if I were to have answered this question the way I would love to, what would I love to say? And then you answer that. And that would be a ideal or your goal. and you simply assume that you are that now. You're that already, and that will produce the result in your world. Okay, Doc. We're going to meet on Saturday, like I said. Until then, bye bye.